Happy Friday. Lisa Vanderpump is speaking on Alex Baskin-Robbins' Bravo Hot Mic. PK is sending threatening DMs and messages to content creators. Russell Brand has been charged. White Lotus is popping off, and we're coming into the season finale. That's season 3 of the White Lotus. You guys, we have so much to talk about. So grab a beverage. Hopefully you're wearing something very comfy. Smash that like, and let's get this Friday party started.
If you like what you see, come and get it with me. I know you deserve all you want, 'cause your heart's made of gold. But don't wait till you're old. If you want it, I get you some.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, stand-up comedian and pop culture vulture. Joleen Lunzer here for another episode of No Offense, All Offense with producer in training Prince. As you can see, his tail, his beautiful, lovely long-haired cat tail. He'll be assisting me today. This is where we take a comedic look at all the trending topics, news, pop culture, reality shows, things we love to hate, things we hate to love, and things we love to love. If this is your first time here, remember I'm very opinionated, but that doesn't mean you have to have the same opinion. You're welcome to sound off in the live chat. Hello, live chatters, or comment section if you're watching on the replay crew. Shout out to you. And we can just respectfully agree to disagree, like the very calm and demure Tamra Judge from the Real Housewives of Orange County.
That's my opinion!
It's just my opinion. But know that everything I say today is true, except for the parts that are false. Everything is alleged and for entertainment purposes only. So don't sue me.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So if you are joining live, smash that like. Let's set a like goal for 500 and see if we can hit it. You guys, it's a free way to support the channel. Subscribe. We're on our way to 50K. Slowly but surely, I believe one day we will hit 50K. And if you want to support the channel further, you know the drill. You can send a super chat while we're live here on YouTube. I'll highlight your comment. You can send a super thanks after the video posts, or you can check out one of my memberships either here on YouTube or on Patreon if you're looking to get a little bang for your buck and get some extra bonus content. All right. So hopefully you all are having a wonderful Friday. Sorry, I was MIA yesterday. I think it was yesterday, right? My days were all blurring together. We had an infestation of bees in our yard. Like, I looked out the window yesterday and there was a wall of bees. And I was like, what? Oh no. Producer Prince is hitting things off the desk. He's like, he doesn't want to work today. He's already into the weekend. So we're going to get into the rumors and the nastiness. But first, I have to pick up my AirPod.
Where's Meredith Marks when I need her?
The rumors, the nastiness, the rumors, the nastiness. You want me to go there with her husband? I can go there. You can leave.
Okay, Trish says, like number 35. Yay, we've only been live for 3 minutes. We already got 35 likes. You guys are killing it. Also, I think I added a few more mods. Evelyn, I added you, so hopefully you're okay with that. If I ever add you to be a mod and you don't want to be, just let me know and I'll remove it. I think that's how it works. I think you have to accept it though. But if not, if you're like, oh my God, why do I have a wrench next to my name? It's because I was like, oh, Evelyn, I'm going to add Evelyn as a mod. So hopefully you're okay with that. Yay, 48 likes. If not for me, do it for producer Prince. Okay. Producer in training Prince. All right. Let's get into the first thing. Okay. Bye, Prince. He's already taking a break. He's union. Okay. Unionize, you guys, everywhere. Workers' rights. Go, Prince. All right. Let's get to the first thing I want to talk about, which is this PK situation. Okay. Dorit Kemsley's soon to be, I think, ex-husband, right? They're like fully going for this divorce. I mean, she said, I think at the reunion that she doesn't see them getting back together. And I think he made it pretty clear that he's done. So yay, 53. But he, so the content creator, she's speaking with Emily Hanks. She posted on her YouTube channel, you guys, that PK is DMing her. And I'm like, oh my God, what? So she posted this. Shout out to Emily Hanks, you guys. Let me drop a link in the chat so you can go subscribe, because you know we love to support a women content creator. Okay, so sub to Emily. And since we're looking at her contact, if you want to go give her a sub, if you enjoy her stuff, go do it. Okay. So I just dropped it in the chat. It was the link to this, so it's a little long, but you can you'll see it. I'll try to remember to put it in the description after the video's over. Okay, so PK sent her this lovely DM. So she posted 7 hours ago, PK threatened me, LOL. And that's how my morning is going. How are you guys doing? Ugh, PK. Ugh. Okay, so Paul Kemsley, aka PK, said, is it okay? I gotta get in PK mode. He's like, what does he call her? Bubs? Okay, Bubs. Okay, he says, is there any way? Okay, this is gonna be Australian PK. Is there any chance at all that you could stop lying? I was married to my wife for 20 years, not 9. Okay. I have never had a house foreclosed upon ever. And I remain super close with all my children. They're like all my children in the daytime. What is it called? Soap opera? Oh my God, that's crazy. Particularly my 3 older ones who are not on social media. And I do not appreciate you grabbing an old photograph and posting their images on your disgusting blog. So please take their images down. Just stop lying for clicks and money. Feel free to post this message, although I doubt you will, as it will show everyone just what total shit you talk and how you have no regard for kids that are not in your super sick world. What do you mean in their super sick world? What are you even talking about? You're in a super sick world. You're on reality TV, dipshit. I can't stand this guy. He just sucks so much. So then she responds back. And what time did he message her at? Let's look at that. 2:17 a.m., sir. Sobriety's calling. What's going on? Why are we awake at 2:17 a.m.? Now, I am someone who's sober who will be awake at 2:17 a.m. Not messaging people weird stuff, but because I have ADHD and it's hard for me to sleep and shut off my brain. But I'm working on it. I'm also a comic and a night owl. But here he is at 2:17 emailing or messaging, DMing a woman trying to tell her how to run her business. But yes, he's sober. Okay. She said, who the heck is knocking on my door? I swear these frontier people, I'm going to lose it on them. Hold on a second. Let me see what's going on here.
Where's Meredith Marks when I need her?
The rumors, the nastiness, the rumors, the nastiness. You want me to go there with her husband? I can go there. You can leave.
These frontier people are trying to get us to change our internet, and they come every day, multiple times a day, and they don't ring the Ring doorbell, they knock. And anyone who is a dog knows that it's so shitty when they do that. And then the dogs start barking, and by dogs I mean Dave. He's the only one who really barks, Buffy occasionally. And then she waves. I'm like, lady, what are you doing? Beat it. So I just went on the Ring. Oh, hopefully. Okay, I think they're gone. Yeah, they're gone. I had to go on the Ring camera and go, we don't accept solicitation. Thank you. Have a nice day. Goodbye. I need one of those signs. No solicitor signs. I'm like, oh my gosh. We already have, we get so many solicitors in our neighborhood, or so many solicitations or from solicitors, right? Okay. Anyways, I digress. Thank you for your patience with that, you guys. And it just gets poor Dave Dog riled up because he's trying to protect the house. Okay. He's like, I only have 3 legs left. You're not taking one. All right. Shout out to tripods everywhere. So Emily responds to him at 6:58 because she probably is a functioning adult, has to wake up early, do things, not staying up till 2 a.m., just messaging random people for doing their job. Okay. And Emily says, I think sharing this message will only demonstrate the way in which you communicate. And you sent it after 2 a.m. nonetheless. While the years you were married to your ex-wife may be wrong, which I will correct because I do like to be accurate, I never said your homes were foreclosed on, but they were in pre-foreclosure, which I stated in my content. In regard to your relationship with your children, it's interesting you say you remain close with 3 of them, particularly your older ones, in quote, being that the younger ones are here in LA and in the midst of a separation. I would think you would want to ensure that relationship is strong, but that's good to know. Oh, damn, Emily is dragging him. Do you send all content creators and podcasters messages like these, or am I the only lucky one? Don't even think about messaging me, PK, because I will blast your shit everywhere, you weirdo. I already get enough weird dude DMs. I don't need you in it. Okay. If you want to message someone, go to a meeting. Go to a meeting instead. Do anything else other than message people online. Okay. So then he replies, oh, Jesus. Four of my kids are in LA. One studying in Rio. Good for them. Why are you providing more information about kids you say you don't want information about, but you're willy-nilly giving information to a blogger, you weirdo? One studying in Rio de Janeiro, bitch. Okay. I'd only stay away from my kids, full stop. I'd personally stay away from my kids, full stop. Who's going by your kids? You and your wife put your children on television since they were little itty bitty babies. You exploited your children on television. That's you, bro. I'd personally stay away from my kids, full stop. Your content is designed to defame. You spelled defame wrong too. Oh, God. Oh, God. But that's up to you. Obviously, it goes without saying that I'm close with my little ones, and you're, again, using your, it's URPK. Jesus Christ. You're the lucky one that gets to hear from me because everything you said was made up. Keep writing and posting about my family and you'll see how lucky you get. What the fuck? You're on TV, dumbass. I am so tired of these men, these Bravo men, like serious, I've had it podcast titty babies right here. Bro. Isn't he like 65 for real? For real. Grow up. What are you going to do to her? What are you going to do? Huh? Because everything you say is keep writing and posting about my family and you'll see how lucky you get. If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. No, bitch, that's you. That's literally you, PK. You're being a bitch. Okay. You're not a content creator. Well, you're not an English speaker, obviously, or speller, or because what is this? What is this? You're a liar. Not you are, but you're like you own the lying. Okay. Who posts what she wants behind a filter that's probably marginally more of a misleading image than that which you talk about. I'm sorry, what? So she puts a filter on her face. Have you seen yourself? Have you seen the pictures you post? You get Botox. You get all the stuff on your face, but you're going to rip on a content creator and a woman for using a filter in a world in which is a filtered world, like it or not. And you literally are on a television show, Bravo, that filters all of you when you're on it. And thank God you're filtered. I'll just put it like that. Thank God. They're doing us a favor. Oh my God. Go for it. See what a father who loves his kids will do to protect them against a blogger woman, a woman on the internet you'll never meet who blogs about your family because they're featured on a television show in which you consented to be featured on and have them featured on. You act like she's staring in your windows at home. My God. When someone is out to harm them and me, good luck. Good luck what? You're not scary at all. You're just a freaking creep. And she said, so I blocked him. Good for you, Emily. Fuck that guy, dude. Fuck you, PK. Like, seriously, you're such an idiot. You're such a pussy baby. Nobody is afraid of you. Like, get your life in order. You are too old to be doing this. And to be somehow acting like bloggers are, you exploited your family. You've done that. You've also been known to allegedly owe money all over the place. You and your wife live outside of your means, beyond your means, if you will, and you flaunt it. And now you want to be all secretive about it? Bro, stop. Oh my, right? Linda says, is he okay? I don't think he's okay. Do you not know how this works? Did you reach out to any of the men bloggers? For some reason, I thought he might have, maybe I just created this in my head that he might have harassed Up and Adam once upon a time. But maybe I don't remember. But I would be curious to see how many male bloggers, how many men he harasses in the DMs like this. Get over yourself, sir. Okay. If you didn't want to be a part of this world, you didn't want to be featured in blogs, you wouldn't go out there selling your stories to people. You wouldn't go out there openly sharing your entire family. You're acting like this woman is creeping in your windows or something. If anything, I think it's really creepy that you put your small children on television and that you agreed to that. I think that's gross. I don't think Bravo needs any children and their lives exploited when they can't consent. It's the same way I feel about family vloggers. I think it's gross. I think ultimately the parents are benefiting monetarily and for their own egos and stuff, but what do the kids get? They can't consent. And who knows that if when they're adults, they'll look back at that and really regret that their parents put them out there like that before they really knew what out there like that meant. So shut up. Yeah, Evelyn says, what a titty baby. There's a titty baby. Like, shut up, PK. Right? Krista says, I love how he's talking to everyone but his wife. And everyone has it wrong, PK. You've always been the hero of the story. Can you imagine? I can't even imagine being married to this piece of shit. I don't know how Dorit did it for so long. And I'm not saying Dorit is an angel, but she definitely deserves better than him. Boozy bitch, thank you. PK like the spotlight. Also, PK, are you taking care of your kids and your family when we see you out there partying with Mauricio and partying with the dudes at Summer House? Is that how you're protecting your kids, by partying with people half your age when you're supposed to be sober? Interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh, he went after Dana Wilkie? Of course. Goes after women. Loves to go after women. Like, shut up. You're such a dork. You and your stupid motor jacket, leather. Like, grow up. Get a job. What do you do besides troll women on the internet or harass them? For real, what do you do other than threaten women who post about your very public life and very public breakup? You don't get to now run and hide because you don't like what people are saying. Just Kelly says, can we retire the word blogger? I don't know. Maybe. I will if you will. Oh my gosh. Okay, we gotta just tell PK, guess what, sir? You're a dick. You're a wee titty baby and a deek. And quit harassing women and get right with your family. And you're not protecting your kids from Emily, the Bravo content creator, who is never going to harm them a day in her life. So shut up. This song is for you, PK.
Don't be a dick. You're being a real dick. Stop being a dick. You're being a dick. Don't be a dick. That's what you're being right now. You need to stop, check yourself, and calm the fuck down. Don't be a dick. You're being a real dick. Stop being a dick. You're being a dick. The things that you do, you're obviously very hurt, and that's why I think that you're a big fucking jerk. Don't be a dick. You're being a real dick. Stop being a dick. You're being a dick.
Don't be a dick. You're being... what a loser. Seriously. And don't even try to harass me because I know how to fight. No. If I got to get you, I'll get you. I'll be stabbing, okay? Leave us alone. Leave women alone. You've already heard enough, women. Get out of here. Okay. On a more positive note, I haven't commented on the fact that Val Kilmer passed away, which is so incredibly sad. But this story came out recently that Will Forte said about Val Kilmer, according to Variety, said Val Kilmer asked Will Forte to do The Amazing Race together after they became friends on MacGruber. Their agents refused to let them. And first of all, I want to say, screw you, agents, because I would have given Amazing Race another chance had you actually let this happen. Val said, Will, you and I have to go do The Amazing Race. We have to. Let's do The Amazing Race. I'm like, I'm so fully in. We got really excited about it. And then we called our respective agents and managers, and they were like, there's no way you guys are doing that. That is maybe to this day the biggest regret of my whole career, that I never did The Amazing Race with Val Kilmer. I think we would have gotten out very quickly, but it just would have been the experience of a lifetime. Can you imagine if these two would have been on Amazing Race? That would have been fun to watch, right? Thank you. DGF says that would have been amazing to see them on The Amazing Race. But yeah, sometimes agents and managers don't always know what's best, because I don't think that would have hurt their career at all. I think if anything, that would have been even more endearing, you know? So, right? Yes, that would have been great. And I love that you find out that so many of these actors and singers and are fans of the shows like Big Brother, The Amazing Race, Survivor. I love that because I'm like, oh my gosh, us too. But yes, rest in peace, Val. Hype Man Husband Cho was telling me I need to watch his documentary he did a few years ago. He said it really opened up his eyes to just the kind of guy he was. And it was really interesting. But I remember hearing he did a documentary, but I never watched it. And I didn't know much about Val Kilmer and his personal life at all. I just knew about, the movies he was in, I guess. Thank you, Dog Mom Laura says, love your lives, Jolene. I appreciate that. You guys are so nice. And saying my hair looks fabulous. Thank you so much. I decided to throw in some beach waves before I went live. All right. Next up, Russell Brand. Oh my God. This guy, I've been waiting for this guy to go away. Maybe my whole life. So Russell Brand recently went from like, I question everything. I'm an atheist. I'm sober. And I am very, left-leaning progressive. And I want to talk about it in politics and da-da-da-da. Then all of a sudden, hilariously, he gets this part isn't hilarious, but he gets accused of, SA by women. And then all of a sudden, he's over on Trump's team, and he's also, he found God. It's amazing how these men go their whole lives, and then they drag God into it. And it's like, and I think they think that's going to absolve them, because it wasn't until he was accused of horrendous crimes against women that he was like, hi, Jesus. And if I was Jesus, honestly, I'd be like, the door is closed. The door is closed. I wasn't lost. I've never been lost. You knew where to find me. But here we go. So Russell Brand, after being accused, for quite some time for SA and just being an overall douchebag, he's actually been charged with grape, we'll say, and SA charges. And this is Access Hollywood. Give me a thumbs up as soon as you guys can hear the audio on this. This is what they had to say about these grape and SA charges.
I was a fool, man. I was a fool before I lived in the light of the Lord. I was a drug addict, a sex addict.
Dude, he's such a liar. He's such a grifter. He doesn't believe any of that. He's doing anything to hide. Okay, I'm going to let it play out.
And an imbecile. But what I never was a rapist.
Russell Brand's legal troubles have taken a serious turn. The British comedian is being charged with rape and sexual assault stemming from alleged incidents with 4 separate women between 1999 and 2005, Access Hollywood confirms. Scotland Yard announced the news on April 4th, sharing in a statement that Crown Prosecution Service has authorized Metropolitan Police to charge Brand with 1 count each of rape, oral rape, and indecent assault, and 2 counts of sexual assault. The author and actor is due in court on May 2nd. The charges come weeks after Brand was sued in London's High Court for alleged sexual abuse. He was previously sued in the U.S. for sexual assault in 2023, stemming from an anonymous accuser claiming Brand exposed himself to her on a film set in 2011 and then assaulted her in the bathroom later that day. He has previously denied wrongdoing and claimed that all his relationships have been consensual. Police said in a statement that they launched an investigation following a 2023 Channel 4 documentary on the multiple allegations against Brand in conjunction with reporting from the Sunday Times. Metropolitan Police Superintendent Andy Furphy noted that women who have filed reports are receiving support from specially trained officers, adding that the Met encourages anyone affected by the case or who may have information to speak with authorities. Access Hollywood has reached out to Brand for comment on the latest charges. He posted a public video response on his social media.
I've always told you guys that when I was young and single, before I had my wife and family.
You guys, this dipshit is 49 years old. He's 4 years older than me. This is what being a disgusting human, and this is what the filter on with this dude, okay? This is what being a disgusting human and treating women like shit will make you look like. And now he's married and has kids, and now we're just supposed to forget about all these atrocious crimes and believe that they never existed. And that all these women are just lying on him. For what? For what? Where's their I lied on Russell Brand prize? There is none.
Before I had my wife and family, we're just out shot over there, my beautiful children. I was a fool, man. I was a fool.
He's Elon Musking. He's gonna put the kids and the wife are gonna be his shield. So gross, dude. Okay, let's
with authorities.
Shut up, Jolene.
Access Hollywood has reached out to Brand for comment on the latest charges. He posted a public video response on his social media.
I've always told you guys that when I was young and single, before I had my wife and family, we're just out shot over there, my beautiful children. I was a fool, man. I was a fool before I lived in the light of the Lord. I was a drug addict, a sex addict, and an imbecile. But what I never was a rapist. I've never engaged in non-consensual activity. I pray that you can see that by looking in my eyes.
No, by looking in your eyes, I can see that you did that. Like, I 100% believe just by looking at you that you did that. I also believe those women and don't think they're making this up because there's no grand prize or big get for lying about SA that you committed. Like that, no. But yeah, 49, closer to 60. DGF said, Russell hit on a married Wendy Williams during their interview. You could see her disdain. I mean, he's just gross. He's always oozed this just condescension and cockiness and just bleh. And Katy Perry was married to him, and he didn't act right in that marriage. And there's been lots of allegations going around against this guy for a while, and then all of a sudden he heads over to the other people who have allegations like that, and then decides, oh, I'm going to now I'm a Christian. Now I'm born again. This is a man who spent his whole life shitting on Christians, shitting on Christianity, shitting on organized religion. But now when he needs it, when he needs something to like get him out of jail, per se, like, then he's like, oh yes, thank you, Jesus Christ, superstar. Because he knows that there are some Christians who will be like, well, that's, good for him. And he's trying, and he's just grifting and lying, and it's gross. And I see what he's doing, and yuck. And I'm so glad he's charged, and I hope he's convicted. Yuckster City Township. Yes, when the weirdos invoke Sky Daddy, run. The minute someone who's devoted his whole life to talking about how it's not real, nothing is, it's bullshit, these people, it's a cult, joins the cult, run. And it's only because he has these allegations. He's looking for protection. He's looking for protection under this, like, pretending to have found God. It's all fake and it's all performative, hoping that he doesn't have to have consequences for his disgusting actions. Thank you so much, Dog Mom Laura, for the super chat. Laughing always at your commentary. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes, like Leslie's saying in the chat, churches forgive their male leaders, so they'll forgive him. And that's what he's hoping for. So, right. Krista says, let's see Jax find God during the valley. I guarantee you, if Jax doesn't get the support he's looking for during the season of the Valley, he will also throw God out there. And I can't imagine, like, God looking at this and going, oh, we got another fuck face, just come on. You can't lie to Sky Daddy. What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you, sir? Lots of things. So happy to see he's charged, but obviously I hope that they're able to convict this asswipe. And I hope that all the women get justice. Kara says God will snub Jax. Oh, if only. That would be amazing if he was like, no, you've had your time. You've had tons of time to do this. And no, I'm not interested in this bullshit unless you are sincere. You don't think if you are a believer, you don't think that God knows who's being true and who's being fake? I mean, even Santa, he sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sakes. Oh, even Santa can see this coming. So certainly God can. These guys think they're smart enough to trick the system, and they're not. Okay. Lisa Vanderpump. Lisa Vanderpump was on Bravo's Hot Mic with Alex Baskin-Robbins. And she was asked about not Jax. I don't think she was asked about Jax. She was asked about James, I believe. So let's watch it here together. I've only seen clips, so we're going to watch it together. You guys, let me share it here. And I want you guys to sound off in the chat what you think about Lisa's latest interview with Alex Baskin-Robbins. Talking about talking about Vanderpump. I don't think she talks about the Valley. We'll see. We'll see if she talks about the Valley, because she is listed as like an executive producer, I think, on the Valley, but I think it's more of like just in title, just like what do they call that? A vanity title, I think. So let's take a listen. Thumbs up as soon as you can hear the audio on this, you guys.
Made a few silly moves. I think he should have stood up to.
You have a great relationship with
them, but the others, their attitude changed, and it wasn't what we set out to be. So I think it was time to move on.
Who do you have a great relationship with?
I have a great relationship with Schwartz. I think he's truly a lovely, kind person. And it actually hurt me to see him kind of get a beating, around the whole scandal time. I think he made a few silly moves. I think he should have stood up to.
Oh, look it. We're like, what are we, 34 seconds in, and we already have Lisa Vanderpump playing down toxic men, Schwartz's role in Scandal. What do you mean a few? Oh, it was so silly. Silly how he lied and let his then wife, soon to be ex-wife, get thrown under the bus. And when she was still his wife, get thrown under the bus, and played her when he didn't need to try to make her look stupid and possibly get her kicked off the show to be replaced with Joe Wenberg, who's now stalking him, rightfully so. And Rachel Raquel, when Tom Sandoval was having the affair with her. Oh, that's so silly. How they were like, Katie and Ariana are the evil ones. How he vacationed with Sandoval while he was cheating with Rachel Raquel and Big Bear, how he was supposed to be friends with Ariana, but yet he hid of this affair, so much so, like I said, that he was pretending to have his own affair with Rachel Raquel to protect Tom Sandoval. But it's so silly. Yes, like Chris is saying, vulnerable narcissist Schwartz. I should have played the Narc Slayer intro, because we're going to be slaying some narcissists.
In every generation, there is a chosen one. She alone will stand against the vampires, the demons, and the forces of darkness. She is the Slayer.
Is the Slayer. Yes, victim, Schwartz, boo, tomato. Okay, let's keep going. As I'm telling you, one day we will find out that Lala and Schwartz did the ditty, and Lisa Vanderpump and Schwartz. I think they're going to hook up if they haven't already, or they'll have some weird relationship where he moves into her house. God forbid something happens to Ken, and then Schwartz moves in. I don't know. That's how I see it. They've always had a really weird relationship. Very creepy for a boss and employee, but I digress. Let's keep going.
To Sandoval more, but I think that's him in his life. He tries to make everybody happy, and he's just always been very kind, lovable, thoughtful person. I love Lala. I think Lala, like with Stacy, I stopped her and Stacy in their tracks, right at the beginning of the show when they got very emotional saying, you can do this. This is something, when they wanted to walk away, which they did. And, to be on a reality show can be truly overwhelming at times. And to actually say, I really believe in you and I think you've got a great future. You've just got to go with it. And I think she's really grown from it. And I'm proud of her. And yeah, I think she's a lovely mummy. And I think she's going to be very successful.
What did Lala grow into? Hating on women to get ahead and then finding out that doesn't work? Like hating on her own friends, turning on Katie, turning on Ariana. I'm sorry, what did Lala? So just because Lala keeps in contact with you and kisses your ass, she's a good person?
They not like us. They not like us. They not like us.
Wanted to walk away. Yeah, right. No, she blew up BBR. Yeah. Of course she loves Lala. After everything, when Katie was like pretty close to her. I mean, Lisa doesn't even bring up Sheena. And Sheena was like obsessed with Lisa Vanderpump. But okay.
What about your relationship with James? And I want to talk specifically about a pickup on part of a quote that was attributed to you, which is that you had spoken to Allie and James about the domestic incident in which James was arrested, charges ultimately.
Why do you say domestic incident? Why don't you say DV or domestic violence? Because that was what was being alleged, and that's what he was being charged with.
Were not filed. So tell me about that. Tell me about.
Well, I hate it if the press are going to, report the story or ask me to stop and talk about something, then put the whole thing out there. Don't just take a little snippet of it, because it's, I don't want to be that person that's blaming, the reports or the editing but when you say something in context, what did I say? I was very disappointed with James, because I've had these conversations with him that drinking, working, or being a decent person for him are mutually exclusive. They do not go together. And he should be held accountable for that because he knows that very well. He's a little asshole when he drinks. He's aggressive. He is just volatile. So
he's abusive. He's abusive when he drinks. Multiple women have accused him of abuse. There was just this DV situation. And just because, you know, Burbank didn't go forward with these charges or Allie didn't, doesn't mean it didn't happen. Because the neighbor reported it. And according to what Allie originally told the police officer, it was a DV incident. But here she is going, oh, he's a little asshole. And it's not just when he drinks, because I was a full-blown functioning alcoholic myself. But I wasn't out here DVing people. So that cannot be attributed just to his drinking. And that James without alcohol, she's making it seem like that wouldn't happen. And that's not true. That's 100% not true. And to make that distinction, it's just when he's had some cocktails. No, he's an abuser. Allegedly, I'll say. But he's an abuser.
For me, I was very terse with him, disappointed.
I was very terse with him, disappointed. Disappointed. You should be someone who never wants to fuck with this dude again. I know you're friends with his mommy and all that stuff, but this is a really bad look. Lisa staying in contact with and making excuses for and having so much empathy for the abuser rather than the abused.
Pointed in him because I'd been an advocate for him and his success, and for him to go down that path. And he had so much to lose. Allie loved him. She's a great girl. And
yeah, so let's focus on the great girl that Allie is and how much she doesn't deserve this. And who cares about James Kennedy and his stupid DJ career? A DJ like that is a dime a dozen. I mean, the fact that so many of these people who want to make excuses for James are like, oh, he had so much going for him. What? Being a reality TV a dickhead with an accent who picked up DJing at bars and clubs? Ooh, the world really missed out on that one.
I think, you know, with their relationship, now they've got to take time apart because I don't blame her.
What do you mean take time apart? That's the part where I'm like, what are you talking about? They broke up. And I haven't heard anything that she's taken aback. And if anything, she's on podcasts talking about what she's learned from two relationships that she's had, or two major relationships, and then being alcoholics, and then her dad allegedly passing away from something related to alcoholism. And that's what she was saying on a podcast, a clip that I saw on Instagram. So you mean taking a break? Are you hoping that she takes back her abuser? Oh, Lisa.
You know, you got to prove to me you're going to be the man that I want. And I think he let them both down.
Do you think that he gets it?
I think what we have to understand is alcoholism is a disease, and
Lisa, we don't have to understand anything, first of all. And as an alcoholic, we do understand alcoholism is a disease, but we also understand that it's not an excuse. It's a disease, but it's not an excuse for abuse. It just isn't. The fact that she's trying to tell us what we have to understand. No.
It's whether the devil, so to speak, gets the better of you. You know, I think in his mind, he's done something like now 60 days sober.
Woohoo. Woohoo. Wasn't he doing that before? And then just smoking all the weed?
So he understands the seriousness of it.
Does he? He was just pictured talking to Andrew Tate and his brother. And then when he was like, oh, I didn't know them. I just knew them from their podcast. Andrew Tate's weirdo brother was like, no, he said he was a big fan. Which seems on brand for James and his behavior. So I don't think he's learned anything, Lisa.
But I don't know. Does he have the strength to stay on that path? And then the world would be his oyster. But he's that close to losing it all.
No, he's lost it all. Whoever supports this guy now, trash, garbage in any of these things. Like, I'm not talking about in life. If he has friends and family, I know people are going to stay by him. But with his DJ career, who cares? With his Instagram account, who cares? With his reality TV career, who cares? Yes, Print, exactly. Alcoholism made me abuse myself, never anyone else. Thank you for the super chat. And 100%. Yes.
You know, you can't keep making mistakes. You can't.
These are so much bigger than mistakes. You're actually affecting women's lives. You're causing them injury and harm and scars that last long after bruises heal. You're causing PTSD. You are really, negatively impacting a woman's life, or many women, allegedly, who will never be able to live the same, feel as free, all of those things. They have so much they have to carry with them, and so much pain and hurt on them because of you, because you're a dipshit who is an abuser, because you're a dickhead. And Lisa's out there going, oh, these mistakes. Picking up your girlfriend and throwing her across the room is a mistake. Hitting a woman you say you love is a mistake.
Especially when you know the outcome.
Yeah, I mean, the whole situation is unfortunate.
Oh, it's unfortunate. Thank you, Alex Basker. The whole situation is unfortunate. It's more than unfortunate. It's tragic. And the biggest tragedy is how you all protected him. Because how much didn't we see, and how much don't we know that exists? How many times did you guys hide it until you couldn't hide it anymore? Until the neighbors were calling the police on this guy. It's unfortunate, though, Alex Baskin-Robbins. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And obviously, hopefully,
these fuckers need a thesaurus for stronger words.
This is sort of the final wake-up call that he needs. So I want to talk about the rest.
So anyways, I want to talk about, Jesus Christ, the fact that this is a network watched by so many women, and they are so flippant and willing to give excuses for men who are literally verbally and physically abusing women, is crazy. The misogyny, the internalized misogyny, it's just next level. And these creeps don't even realize it. Or they do and they don't care, which is even worse. They're like, anyways, back to me.
Of the group. And since the announcement was made that the show is going in a new
Yeah.
direction, who else have you spoken to? Who else have you heard from? Who have you not heard from?
Molly?
Well, I put something out, on social media to talk about how I love them all. And I do love them all, regardless of their kind of their antics and their foibles. And
do you notice how Lisa is still talking about James and supporting him? But she didn't message, or she's not really mentioning Katie or Ariana in like a good light, and doesn't normally. Yet their only crime was maybe criticizing her or the show or not calling her. Meanwhile, these abusive men still call her and kiss her ass. So she's like, actually, and sometimes they don't even kiss her ass. She just wants to take up for them. It's so internalized in Vanderpump, and she realizes it, or she doesn't care, or she's just going to say, oh, darling, this younger generation is just, they just want to label and say all these things. And, this is how it is. But it's crazy that she has so much smoke for the women, and has for many years, and still hates Kristen Doty to this day. All for what for words Kristen Doty said, or for her not, kissing her ass or not liking her, being disrespectful. Meanwhile, these men are not only disrespectful to Lisa, disrespectful to her staff, disrespectful to her businesses, and abusive. And she's like, oh, just a little mistake. And oh, Schwartz, he's just got some silly business. And Sandoval, he'll learn. They'll change, darling. But the women are branded forever, like the Sandlot, forever.
I do love them all. There's a deep love, but just because what we've been through together and seeing them such a young age, even though they've been very frustrating at times for sure, and they've made mistakes. But it was predictable. Of course, Schwartz straight away called me and said, I just want to thank you for all the opportunities you've given me, and James too. Lala, I've always been very close to her. I didn't hear from, I think Ariana.
I don't think you've always been close to Lala, but okay.
Texted me or tweeted me or something. Katie, I didn't hear from, but as I say, that doesn't really surprise me.
So what do they have to kiss your ass and go, thank you so much? I mean, I feel like we've seen on the show, Ariana, Katie, they've paid their respects to you on the show season after season. They've never disrespected you in the ways that Jax, James, and the Toms have disrespected you ever. Have we ever seen? And even Kristen at her worst hasn't been as bad to your brand, your business, the show, other people as all the men have. But here we are. Like, that's insane. So Katie and Ariana, they've given you your flowers time after time. But now you're like, oh, I didn't hear from them. I've heard them say it. I've seen them say it on the show. I've seen them say it on social media. I've seen them saying it in interviews. But I would imagine they don't really want to talk to you since you are caping for and taking up and white knighting for two of the men. Well, more than that, but especially Katie's ex-husband Schwartz and Ariana's ex-boyfriend Sandoval, who both tried to do them both, who tried to do the women so dirty and did.
It's strange because I'm not saying they should be grateful to me, but they should be grateful for the show. And, you know, as we were to them, we always kind of celebrated them. And, but that show gave them a plethora of opportunities they wouldn't necessarily have had.
I think for all of them, I think that distance was kind of needed. And so I think that they're grateful for it, but I think they haven't had a chance to even reflect on it. I think the experience was so intense. And so my guess is that things look different in a year or so. But
yeah, and the Chef Penny lawsuit, which I completely forgot about. So you guys put it in the chat, like Tracy's saying, yes, the Chef Penny lawsuit and how she took up for Chef Penny and put Chef Penny into their lives. And then Chef Penny tried to go just way too hard for their money. And you're like, what did you do, Chef Penny? And now suing them. And so Lisa, of course, is going to side with Chef Penny. And like Beth says, she's mad because she can't get money off their Sammys. That's the truth.
That also is the reason that we couldn't continue. The situation had changed. The relationships had changed. And I think
it's strange though, right? Isn't it? Because I had success before I jumped onto reality television. My life isn't hugely different.
Oh, so everyone else has to give all the props and praise to Vanderpumprules. But she was just as big. No, you weren't. I don't know. Maybe monetarily, maybe money-wise, you were always pulling in good money, but people did not know who you were. The American public did not know who the frick you were until you were on Beverly Hills Housewives and then Vanderpump Rules. We had no idea. I never would have known who you were. Never. Had it not been for the television shows that you're saying everyone else benefited from. But it's strange. I'm the same. No, that one 80s music video you were in, never saw it. Never heard of it. I was a baby. I didn't know. So the same can be said for you. Now you started off a lot higher than them with money and you had your own businesses. I understand that. But like everything you have now and your pop culture relevance is the same for them. You didn't have that before. Please. Did anyone know about Lisa Vanderpump? Because I didn't until she was on Housewives and then Vanderpump.
Now than it is when I met you. I had a beautiful house and life and Europe and I'd had 37 restaurants with Ken, but I'd had a successful life. They grew up with this, so they actually don't know almost what it's like to live an adult life without a reality show.
Well, imagine going from being a server.
What are you even doing? She's being so Rinna. You know, everything she dislikes about Rinna, she is in so many ways. So she's like, I mean, they only know these reality shows, right?
Plot from obscurity to all of a sudden a celebrated person on a show that's on for a decade.
Yeah, when you're always, you know, you're used to hearing, oh, hey, you,
yeah,
over here, you know, they're at the beck and call of hundreds of people, you know, as servers every night, and suddenly they're controlling everything. And I think that changed the balance in the show, and it was much more difficult to produce. I love that. I remember when John Hamm came up to me, I was at the upfronts in New York, and John Hamm came up to me and he said,
because it is in large part, you know, the cast, like you guys were saying in the chat, because anyone can put together a reality show where she's going to say, I think, because I saw this clip of, oh, John Hamm came up to me and said, oh, I always wanted to see a restaurant show, working in the restaurant business. Anyone can come up with that. And you can pitch that show idea. But if you don't have the right cast of people, it can die after a few episodes. It can even never come to fruition. You can film a pilot and then not pick it up and go, that's not going to work. So some credit has to be given, obviously, to the cast of Vanderpump Rules, because like you guys are saying in the chat, she leaves the Beverly Hills Housewives and then only is on VPR. And that continues, you know, for quite a few years after she left Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Yet they get no credit. And they just have to thank her for everything.
You know,
but they shared their lives and looked like assholes and drunks. And you made a pretty profit off of it. And you can't recognize that?
Japan and Vanderpump Rules. And, you know, I've always thought working as a waiter in, you know, when I was younger, how wonderful it would be to have a show about a restaurant. And I kind of looked at him and I thought, your show too, Mad Men, to me, that gave me such insight into the world of advertising because my father was a creative director. And when I saw John Hamm's behavior on the show, I thought, okay, now that explains a lot for me, that whole kind of through the 60s. And that was my dad, who recently passed. So that was, but, when he talked about behind the scenes of a restaurant, that was what was so unique about our show. To have the front of house, the back of house. Most of the times people can't give you access to their business like I did, but coming from the stable of housewives, I was used to it. I was raring to go. I thought, let's do this. But I think most people in business just couldn't afford to do that.
No, I don't think they would do it. Usually it's very restricted. But that's the fun of it to me, is to see all of the details, to see the kitchen, to see the alley.
Yes.
Right. And it all became memorable places.
Yes. The alley, that setting right out the back there, where most of the conversations, because I would always, yeah, okay, we'll discuss it in your tea break.
Yeah.
I don't care. So that became pivotal part of the show where all the things were hashed out.
So I want to go back in time a little bit. You referred to pre-Housewives, and I want to talk about when you and I met, which is a long time ago. I was trying to think about it. It's probably 2009.
Did we actually meet when I came in for that audition?
Oh my God, no one at home is going, I wonder when Lisa Vanderpump met Alex Baskin-Robbins. Huh. Boy, they are out of touch.
I had all, to my point, as I say, I would never even, I respect everything they've given me and so grateful to them for our wonderful relationship. But I was used to, it was Jennifer Stallone that talked me into it, who said, you've got to watch this show, New York Housewives. I watched it. I said, that's so not me. How am I going to be involved in something like that? They're shouting and screaming at each other. I thought, and I thought, all right, I'll go in. I'd been asked a couple of times. So when I actually went in, it was at the end of the casting process. They'd come to me because I think I was the quintessential Beverly Hills housewife they were looking for. I had a big business right in Beverly Hills. I had that big house in Beverly Hills. I was, somebody that was up for fun and lived quite a big life. And
we know, Lisa, we know, we literally know. Obviously, you had money and a pretty nice life, which is why they asked you to be on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills back when the housewives, it actually mattered if you had money, or some of them pretending to have money. They didn't know yet that they were pretending. But she's just like, remember, I was very successful. I didn't even want to do this. Okay.
Initially I thought, I'm not sure about this. So I went in, I looked at question, and then I remember you said to me, tell me about your sex life. Or somebody said to me, tell me about your sex life. And I was like, are they joking or what? And I said, what? With my husband or with everybody else? I didn't care. I was just like having fun right from the beginning.
And then we hit a stalemate in the contractual negotiations over two clauses that you wanted. One was that you wanted to be referred to as Pinky.
Well, yeah.
In the main titles.
My restaurant that I've just opened.
Okay, that's boring. Bonnie says she used Pick Me Sheener too. Yeah, now zero mention of her. I saw Sheena doing an interview, and Sheena says, yes, she only talks to Lisa Vanderpump when Lisa Vanderpump wants something. I'm like, what? Lisa Vanderpump, what is she wanting from Sheena? But I guess she's like, yeah, I have a friend on the show, on one of her current shows, and she needed something to know something about that friend. I'm like, oh, okay. But I thought they made it seem like Sheener and Vanderpump were close. But yeah, obviously, like Bonnie saying, now zero mention of her after the guilt trip again. Sheener and Lala, when Lisa called him to the house, she was like, oh, Tom Sandoval might hurt himself. He's going to hurt himself. And they were like, what? What? Yes, we have to forgive Tom immediately. We cannot hold him accountable for his actions because he can hurt himself. Not for once thinking of all the women James has allegedly abused, they could hurt themselves. How Ariana could hurt herself in this situation with Tom Sandoval, or even Rachel Raquel could hurt herself. She was just worried about Sandoval. Oh.
After season 6.
And that's when Lala and Sheena were like, okay, they were getting, pressure, and they gave in, unfortunately. And showed that they really don't stand for anything, and they just want to follow the almighty dollar, and will kind of sell their souls for this reality TV paycheck. And unfortunately, the show then gets canceled the next season because it was garbage, and no one wanted to watch these women who are supposed to be Ariana's friend simp for the guy who shit on her for years, cheated on her with her friend, and then continues to shit on her even after being caught as a cheater and a liar.
And I got to season 8. And
shocker. Women aren't stupid. And we were like, that doesn't make any sense. That wouldn't happen in real life. That would only happen if you were like a really horrible friend.
If I opened the fridge and there's no milk in there, persuaded me to do it. But you did. Came to Tom Tom. Do you remember?
I do remember.
And season 6, they'd come.
Some path forward. And she was on.
Nobody cares. Wait, what is this? She
on this podcast recently. And her message to you was, don't hold your breath.
Oh gosh, listen, it would be nice for her just to tell the truth, right? But Kyle's not.
Oh, Kyle, who cares? Her and her petty drama with Kyle, and they're not friends. They're birds of a feather. Birds of a feather. Sheena and Pandora BFFs. I don't know. I think Stassi was close to Pandora for a minute. I don't know who was BFF with Pandora anymore. I don't know. Maybe Susan. That's a good question, but I don't know. I don't remember. Fire Robin says, funny, I don't miss VPR. Life goes on. Life goes on. Power says, the internal angst Sheena must have with LVP worshiping her bestie Lala. It must. Sheena's like, what? Why me? Why me? Oh. All right. That's enough of that. Like, so LVP hasn't changed, and she's still taking up for problematic men, and that's all we need to know about that. That's that about that. All right. You guys, let me know who is watching White Lotus, because I know I haven't talked a bunch about White Lotus. I watched like the first episode or so, and then I didn't catch up, and now I'm fully caught up, ready for the finale on Sunday. This season, the White Lotus season 3, is cuckoo bananas. And I've been watching it, and I have so many thoughts, and I have so many feelings about this. And I'm so interested to see what's going to happen on this season finale, and who's going to die, who's going to live, what's going to happen. Okay. So, you guys, I am ready for the finale. I got caught up on it, like I said, over the weekend. Or wait, no, it wasn't the weekend. It was the week. This week. Literally, as of yesterday, I got entirely caught up, only to find out that the finale is coming on Sunday. And I was like, that figures that I would do something like that. And there are so many storylines going on, as there is in the White Lotus. We have some returning characters from White Lotus season 1, season 2. But I have to say, seeing Parker Posey play Victoria Ratcliffe, okay, the Southern mom that Mike White based this family of the Ratcliffes that's in White Lotus from Southern Charm, and they actually watched Southern Charm, the actors, and Parker Posey playing this character to perfection. Victoria Ratcliffe, who is a Charleston mother who is over medicated and worried about what everybody thinks, in a little bit of Patricia going on. Her sons have a little bit of Whitney happening. We have her husband and Timothy Ratcliffe, or Ratliff, not Ratcliffe, Ratliff. He is Thomas Ravenel to a T. And Parker Posey being like, oh, tsunami, Piper, no. She's like, who took mommy's lorazepam? Who's my lorazepam? She's just constantly taking lorazepam. And now her husband, so they go to the White Lotus, and they're there because they think their daughter Piper wants to learn and interview this Buddhist monk for her thesis, only to find out she really took them there because she wants to do this. She wants to live there. She wants to check it out and live there and be a part of this meditation program they have there and live with, the Buddhists. And Victoria Ratliff, her mom, is like, it's a cult. Where is my lorazepam? I need these. People are weirdos. Piper, no, tsunami. And then we have that storyline going on with the daughter Piper. She has 2 sons. One of them is Saxon, and the other one Lachlan, which is such like Charleston, like Southern Charm names. And Saxon is just working for his dad and his dad's financial business, and is just very much like a hybrid version of, I think, like Austin, Whitney, Shep, maybe a little Craig. And he's just like hypersexual douchebag who just all work, no play, very into himself, making sexual jokes all the time, especially to his little brother, Lachlan, who seems the youngest of the group is Lachlan Ratliff. And he is it seems like he's just a people pleaser. He doesn't know where he fits in. And then the story takes a turn, and we'll talk about that. But so we have We have Saxon, and he's just like crude and says inappropriate things, even to his sister and his brother. And he's like, "We gotta get you laid, bro." And the mom's like, "Oh, the lorazepam," and she's falling asleep at dinner. And they're like, "Mom," she's like, "What? Everything's fine. I'm on the lorazepam. Who took my lorazepam?" Well, we find out that Timothy, the husband, who's this big business, financial guy, and he is now involved in like an extortion. It was not extortion. He's involved in some kind of money laundering or something, and the feds are on his ass. But they're in Thailand right now at the White Lotus, so he's getting these calls from work, and the feds are raiding his office. His lawyer says it'd be best if we take a deal. The guy who he was doing this money laundering with, he took a deal with the feds already. And so he doesn't want to tell his family because his wife, Victoria Ratliff, is like, "I wouldn't want to live if I had to be poor. I just wasn't made for having hardship. I like money and lorazepam." So he starts stealing her lorazepam because he's got all this coming down on him, the weight of it, not telling his family. So he's just, sedating himself, a la Tom Sandoval, and just like, ugh. And now Victoria has to, spend the rest of her week at the White Lotus without any of her lorazepam. And she's really struggling. And so he steals a gun from the security office, and then the security guy ultimately steals it back. But he's having these fantasies of taking himself out, and then taking his wife out, and then now also taking his son Saxon out, because they've all, come to him basically and said that, their whole lives are basically wrapped up in his business and his success, and they don't have anything if they don't have money and they don't have that business. So it's a whole mess. Meanwhile, Saxon and Lachlan, Saxon just wants to get laid, the older brother, and he ends up having a threesome with one of the ladies, Chloe, and she is dating Gary, aka Greg, who we know from previous seasons of White Lotus and being Jennifer Coolidge's love interest. But then we have some incestuous things going on between the brothers, and that's when I think the show that's too much. It's too much. First of all, I see, the show has a lot of penis. Fine, whatever's great. Seeing penis, love it. We're always seeing boobies. We're always seeing women's bodies. So let's see a little penis. But then when the brothers, Greg, when the brothers, so they both had the intercourses with Chloe. They both took maybe like, I'm assuming like ecstasy or something, and it was on the full moon night. And then we're seeing like flashbacks of then the younger brother pleasuring the elder brother with the hand. And that's when I was like, call me old school. I just feel like incestuous stuff, I don't need that. So now I'm side-eyeing Survivor Mike White, the creator and writer of the show. Like, why did the brothers have to do stuff, And there's just this underlying weirdness, maybe overlying at this point, with the younger brother and how he, well, now knowing, with his brother, but even before this happened, with these gross lines that shouldn't be crossed, like how he interacts with his brother and also with his sister. And it's just like, it was too much. I'm trying to get Hype Man husband Chell to watch it so I can talk to him about it. And once I told him, I was like, I'll give you a little spoiler. And he goes, no. I'm like, just look past that. That's just one thing. When that is in shows, I'm like, I just don't think that needs to be there. It's a fictional show, so you can make up whatever you want. You don't have to make up that. Irene says, I think it's more, and that's terrifying to me. Terrifying. Mimi says, the brother's just too far. Please give us a gay storyline thank you, that isn't incestuous. I was like, Mike White, I'm going to rewatch your Survivor season. I'm looking at you, kid. I'm looking at you, sir. It was traumatizing. I have so much anxiety now with first it was with like the dad situation, and then with Belinda's situation. So Belinda, from the White Lotus in Hawaii, is venturing out there to learn a thing or two from the White Lotus in Thailand. And she notices and sees Gary Gregg. And I'll be honest, I didn't watch the second season of White Lotus yet. I watched the first season and now I've watched the third, but I didn't. So I knew that he was in, Gary Gregg was in the first season with Jennifer Coolidge, but apparently he is now wanted for questioning regarding her mysterious death of drowning off a yacht for possible murder. And he was hiding out in Thailand. And I'm like, oh, Gary Gregg, you nasty. And he's dating Chloe, someone that I think they met on a website. And Parker Posey's character, Victoria Ratliff, says, she's a prostitute. She doesn't have lorazepam. She's a prostitute he found in Quebec, in Canada. So Belinda goes up to him one night. He's having dinner and is like, hey, don't I know you? I think I know you. Because his ex-wife, Tanya, Jennifer Coolidge's character, wanted to invest in a spa for Belinda, but then she doesn't, and she passes away mysteriously. And now Gary Gregg, instead of going back to the States to be questioned, Greg Gary is like, I'm going to hide out here in Thailand. So she's like, oh my God. She Googles Tanya and is like, oh my gosh, she's dead. And there's this mysterious case around her death. And they want her husband, Greg Gary, because he denies it. Like, no, I don't know who you are. And that's not my name. I'm not the guy you know. And so now she's like, oh my God, poor Belinda is trying to talk to people at the White Lotus, like the one main dipshit who works there, and tell him, this guy's weird. I'm afraid of Gary Gregg. Belinda's trying to warn them. And he's like, oh, yes, he was asking about you. I don't think he'll hurt you. And I'm like, he's going to kill her. He's going to get her. Fabian, that's his name. Fabian is just the manager at the White Lotus. And he's like, I'm going to sing. And we're like, no, thanks. And so she tries to reach out to him, and he's like, oh, I don't think we should gossip about the other guests. It's like, he's wanted for questioning regarding his wife's death. He's like, oh, that's just gossip. Meanwhile, Belinda is hooking up with, I think it's Ponchai, this handsome wellness expert, and they hook up the day before her son shows up because he's graduated from college and he's going to join her there because she's been there for part of the week without him. And her son walks in and they're naked cuddling in bed. And I'm like, oh, weird. So now Gary Gregg is inviting Belinda over to his house. He has this dinner, and he pretty much invites all the guests of the White Lotus besides the ladies, the friendship ladies who we'll talk about. And he wants Saxon, who he knows now has had sex with his girlfriend, Chloe. He wants Saxon to hook up with Chloe again, but this time he's going to be in like the cuck chair and watch, because according to Chloe, he has mommy and daddy issues. And his mommy and daddy used to have loud sex or fight or something with their door open. It's so weird. So there they are. And Saxon's like, no, because now he's having, he's been told by Chloe and also by, I forgot her name, by Chloe, that he did in fact have a threesome with her and his own brother, Chelsea. Chelsea and Chloe tell him that. And then also Greg Gary makes an offer to Belinda saying, I think you know who I am. Mm-hmm. And I just don't, I didn't want to go back to the States and be questioned on this. I would never hurt my wife. And I don't want the hassle. And I know my late wife was going to invest in your spa, and she didn't. So I would like to invest $100K. And I'm thinking, Gary Gregg, you are worth so much money. He's got so much money there in Thailand. His house is huge. 100,000, that's chump change. And right away, Belinda, she's got integrity. She has character. She's like, I can't let him buy me out, or buy me off. and basically bribe me to stay quiet about him. Justice for Tanya and Tanya's death. Her own son was like, I think you should just take the money because he's going to come after us and probably come after me. And she's like, I can't do it. Because again, she has integrity, something the Bravo reality people don't know anything about. So now she leaves and says she's going to think about it. So she's dealing with that. We have the Ratliffs dealing with incestuous stuff. The daughter saying she wants to go to this meditation thing and live in Thailand for a year. But Parker Posey's character, Victoria, says, oh, you can't join a cult. They don't even have the rights to pay them. So Parker Posey's character tells her daughter, Piper, just stay there one night. If you can make it one night and you still want to do it, I'll support you. Because she knows her daughter comes from a very comfortable, privileged life. And so probably staying at a monastery with a bunch of monks who live very minimal, don't have any of the comfort she's used to, that she's not going to make it. And sure enough, we see Piper. It looks as though we're going to see Piper in the finale, probably choosing not to do that, even though her brother Lachlan goes with her to stay for the night. And he seems to be like, I'll do it. Because now he knows he's hooked up with his brother, which, and so he's trying to escape. And he's like, I'll do it with you. And then she's like, he's like, I thought you'd be happy. And she's like, I'm just going to go to my room because the pipes are leaking. It's loud. They probably don't even have AC. She's not about this life. They're eating soup. They probably eat soup all the time. And she probably never eats soup except for when she's sick. So it's a mess. So they're dealing with all that and their dad having the feds come down to the point where he's going to lose everything, including their house, and they are going to be impoverished very soon. So the Ratliff family has that going on. Belinda has all this going on. We have the storyline with the security guard at the White Lotus, Gaitak. He is so cute and he's just so nonviolence. I don't want violence. And there's a robbery that happens while he's there, and he tries to stop one of the guys, and he's not able to, but he does get a look at someone. They're wearing masks, but he's able to see one of their faces. And he's also in love with Mook, who is a young woman that he's been friends with for years, who works there. However, he's really trying to court her and, get her to go on a date with him. And it's not until he becomes kind of what she thinks is like a hero in this robbery story, and is kind of, that she thinks they're going to promote him to be a bodyguard for the owner of the White Lotus. It's almost like this Mook character. She really is like, you need to choose violence. And he's like, I'm a Buddhist. Like, I don't believe you should be violent to anybody. Like, I don't like violence. And then they give him a GUN and he has to go to target practice, the same GUN that Timothy Ratliff steals because he wants to take himself out and some of his family to get out of these crimes he's about to be accused of. So, oh my God, I'm worried about him too. So he finally gets the date with Mook, but he has to tell her, like, they're not going to promote me. And I don't have the killer instinct. And she's like, you have to have killer instinct. And she's really pushing this back. So I almost think Mook is going to die because she's pushing so much for this killer instinct. And I think ultimately, like how it works in the White Lotus world, that will be her ultimate downfall. If she had this like nonviolent person, but she was pushing so much of it, now she's going to be a victim of that violence. I feel like that's somewhere the story could go. I've been like pondering what's going to happen, who's going to die in the finale. Then we have Sritala, the owner of the White Lotus. Apologies if I don't say her name right, because she was already correcting people because no one was saying her name right. And she's the glamorous boss, and she owns the White Lotus with her American husband, Jim Hollinger, and Jim's been sick. But Jim has a fan, I will say, staying at the White Lotus who came there just to meet him and see him, but Jim doesn't know it yet. And so he's going to go through his wife to get to Jim, and that's Rick Hatchett. Now, Rick comes in, and he comes in with Chelsea as Chelsea's older boyfriend, and he's just angry, drunk, like, and apparently Jim Hollinger murdered his dad. On his mother's deathbed, she said, Jim took your dad out. So he never knew his dad, and he believes that Jim Hollinger, one of the owners of the White Lotus, is the reason that his life has been so shitty. Now, meanwhile, Chelsea is just this young woman who's like, I think I can fix him. She's from Manchester, and she's so adorable, but she's wasting her time with this receding hairline man who is so angry and like, you're ignorant. You're an idiot. And I'll be honest, I don't like their little love affair in their storyline. I did see that graphic says theory out there is that Jim is actually Rick's dad. That could be because he ultimately gets to confront Jim Hollinger because he goes to Sritala. I don't forget. I'm so sorry. I'm butchering her beautiful name. And he pretends to be a Hollywood producer, and then he brings in his old friend who lives in Bangkok because that is where the owners of the White Lotus live. And he pretends that they have this project, this Hollywood film coming up because she's a singer and a former actress who now owns the White Lotus. And so they want her to be in this movie. They're such big fans. So he meets up with his friend in Bangkok to get him to play the big Hollywood director so they can try to make a deal with her, all to get into her house. They want to meet at her house and so that he can meet Jim. So he gets his friend Frank, played by Sam Rockwell, who is Leslie Bibb, who plays, I think Kate, plays Kate in the 3-person lady friend group. And they're like 16-year lovers in real life. And Sam Rockwell and Leslie Bibb, great actors. And Sam's character, he only appears in the second half of the season, but he has this like shady past. He's now gotten sober, and he delivers these monologues about his life and about hooking up with women in Thailand and Bangkok and ladyboys, and then hooking up with men when he dresses up as women, as like Asian women, and wanting to know what it feels like, what it would feel like to have sex with himself. It's just the way he describes it. I'm like, so ultimately he gets sober. And he is now going to help his friend. But helping his friend ultimately gets him back using again. And in the last episode, they had like a banger of a night after they went over to the White Lotus owner's home and confronted Jim Hollinger. And you think that, he's going to take Jim Hollinger's life, but he doesn't, because he just looks like such a weak man. And so he just kind of scares him, intimidates him, and then they leave. And it's crazy. Then they have like a wild night at Bangkok where he breaks his sobriety, and I'm very much worried about him. Because I'm like, no. Let me get myself back to my little list here. White Lotus. Is this it? Okay. So he, he's been his whole life, he has wanted to confront Jim Hollinger for, Rick has wanted to confront Jim Hollinger for taking his dad's life allegedly. And he gets his friend, Frank, played by Sam Rockwell, to help him, and ultimately doesn't take his life. He just kind of scares him a little bit, and they run off, and then they party, and we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, not answering his girlfriend Chelsea's calls, his free-spirited, lovely girlfriend who wants to save him. And it's like, oh, baby girl, you cannot save an old man. You can't save a man, period. But you definitely can't save an old man. And I fear that Chelsea is going to die in the last episode too, because she's going to be putting all this effort into saving Rick. And then ultimately we'll see Jim Hollinger and his bodyguards, who seem to be fuck-ups. They're going to come back and try to get Rick. Now they know he's staying at the White Lotus, and he went in to Rick's home tricked Rick's wife and then pushed him, or he fell out of his chair, put a GUN up to him, he's going to be looking for some kind of payback. And I'm so nervous that it's going to be Chelsea who's going to pay the ultimate price. Thank you, Kelly, for the super chat. So all that's going on. Meanwhile, we also have a storyline with 3 girlfriends who have been friends all their lives. And I couldn't relate more to kind of that idea, because growing up in Minnesota, I always talk about this, you know, it's definitely a state, especially when I was growing up, it might be a little different now, where people stay in Minnesota. They love Minnesota. It's one of those places where there's not a lot of, what do you call people who move from other states. I know there's a name for that, because I used to talk about that all the time when I moved to Arizona. So when new people come into an area or a friend group, they usually are, when you move to Minnesota from somewhere else or a place like Minnesota, you're going up against or with people who have been friends with people since they were in like kindergarten. There's so many of that. I mean, not everywhere, but it is a thing. I remember I had a friend who worked in radio who moved to Minnesota in her early 20s. When I was in my early 20s, we both worked at the same radio station broadcasting company. And I was introducing her to my friends because she didn't have many friends, and she was from Iowa. And you would think one of us, I mean, another great Midwestern place. And they were like, what's she doing here? I don't think Minnesotans understand that. They're like, what do you mean? It's almost like outsiders, where you're like, well, we haven't known her since we're in kindergarten. So a lot of the time you end up being in these friend groups your whole life, but you get to a point where you've probably grown out of some of these friend groups, but it's almost like you can't turn your back on them. You can't say goodbye. You've known them forever. So they're just your friends, but it starts not making sense why you're even friends, because you've grown out of the friendship. It was a childhood friendship. So you have these 3 women, Lori, Kate, and Jacqueline. And Jacqueline is a Hollywood actress. So she takes her 2 friends that she's had since she was little to the White Lotus, and they're going to have a girls' week, and they're going to kind of reconnect, because Lori now lives in New York, Kate lives in Austin, and Jacqueline obviously in Hollywood. So she's getting, recognized even at the White Lotus. But you soon see that their friendship is not the kind of friendship you'd really want. Just because you've been friends forever doesn't mean it's like a quality friendship. April says, that sounds like South Carolina. I'm sure it's like a lot of places. I'm sure a lot of people, as I'm describing that, are like, oh, that's kind of how my hometown is, and I think it just is one of those things where you're like, oh, you're not from here. Transplants. There's not a lot of transplants. I'm sure now, and when you're in like the cities and stuff, there's more transplants. But there, especially when I was growing up there, you didn't really hear a lot of people who are like, oh, I moved to Minnesota later in my life. It was, most people they grew up there, their family grew up there. I mean, even me living outside of Minnesota, I just remember hearing about my great aunt Sis, and it was always, Sis moved to California, and it was so fancy. And I remember thinking as a little girl, I'm going to be like Sis, and I'm going to live in California. But when I did it, a lot of people I knew in my family were like, you're leaving Minnesota? Like, you're leaving God's country? Why would you leave this? And as much as I love Minnesota, I was like, well, I want to see other places. I lived in Arizona. I lived in Wisconsin, which isn't a big, change from Minnesota. And I lived in California. I just wanted to live other places. But people really thought it was weird. They're like, why would you leave this? And I'm like, well, not everybody. Some people, that's just what they want to do. So anyways, so these friends now have known each other forever, and they have moved and live all over the place. And we're learning that Kate is living in Austin, Texas. All of a sudden, she's really into the church, which is a shock to Lori and Jacqueline. And she is also MAGA. And they're like, oh my God. So it's a group of 3 women. And every time there's just 2 of them, they're talking about the one that isn't there, unfortunately. And I think that's true for like groups of 3 in general. And for some reason, especially women, and I can get into why I think that's women and the competitive nature and our conditioning and all these things, and 3 being an odd number, but it doesn't tend to be the best number in friend groups. You usually want 4, so you can go 2 and 2. Because when you do the 3, for some reason, my whole life, when it's 3, one always feels left out, whether it's me or someone else. It's just how it goes. And there's larger reasons for that, smaller reasons for that, but that's just the way it is, and it sucks. And you see that in this friend group. They have all of these long standing resentments with them from like 10th grade. And you see these come out, and it's so fascinating. Like there's no, Erder going on here, none of that. It literally is just these women's dynamic and how they've most likely grown out of the friendship, but they just haven't let it go, and how they now live on just shit talking each other, but they do it in such a way that is it should be studied. I've seen this, I've done this. We're just like, oh my God, but I love her, right? But she's great. Oh, she's the best. She is. Yeah. It's just too bad that she's so miserable and that her husband is such a loser. But God, she's great, right? She is. She's wonderful, but she looks tired. She looks tired. It's just these digs with a compliment. It's like poetry. It's like passive aggressive, mean person poetry. It's just, right? The dynamics are fascinating. Fascinating. So ultimately, we see it really come to head with Kate, Leslie Bibb's character in the middle, and Lori and Jacqueline going at it. So Lori is this corporate lawyer from New York who lives in New York and has a daughter, I believe, who the other women, when she's not around, describe as, she's hitting. She's like hitting people because Lori's going through a divorce of a man who wants her to pay alimony. And they're like, oh my God, I can't even believe that. And, Lori is trying to go for partner, I think, or something at her law firm, and it's not going her way. So they're like, oh, she put all her eggs in that one basket, corporate lawyer, and in her marriage. Oh, she's just miserable, but she looks great. She looks great. But we look better, but she looks great. And then you have Jacqueline, being this actress in Hollywood, who's aging, which, the shock and horror for actresses and women in Hollywood or in general to age. And you can tell that they're all lost in their own way. And Jacqueline is married to a much younger man, but she can't get a hold of said man. And she thinks he's cheating. So what does she do? Cheats on him with Valentine, which is one of the workers, one of the employees at the White Lotus, this like hot Russian guy who they're all lusting after. And Jacqueline's been pushing Valentine on Lori, only to them sleep with him herself, because Lori's the only single one now going through a divorce. And so that comes ahead when Lori's like, oh, looks like you haven't changed since 10th grade. And also outs that, and then is it that one of them said that Jacqueline might have flirted with another's husband. It's just a mess. So Lori sees Jacqueline as this like aging actress, she says, who's trying to be young again. And she's trying to be like, take us somewhere where there's young people. And then Valentine, or somewhere we could go and have some fun, us three like 40-something ladies. And he, being a younger guy, recommends this place. And when they show up, it's all like much older people. But she's like, oh my God, he sees us as elderly. This is shitty. So then they grab him, party with him. Ultimately, she's pushing him on Lori. He has two friends there. And then she ends up hooking up with Valentine. And Kate sees Valentine leaving in the morning and tells Lori. And then Lori calls out Jacqueline. And it's just been a mess ever since. And then the last episode, we see Lori go to the Muay Thai fights. There's this Muay Thai fight that's happening. And you see her going with Valentine and his two Russian friends. And then she ends up hooking up with one of the Russian guys, one of Valentine's friends, Alexei. And then after they do it, he asks her for $10K for his mom. And then his girlfriend shows up and she has to sneak out the window. So she's realizing like, oh, maybe this crazy life isn't for me. Maybe I want to go back to New York in my lawyer life. And so that's a mess right there. But while they're at the Muay Thai fights, that is when the nonviolent guy talk from the security guard is on a date with Mook, and he notices Valentine there with Lori and notices one of the friends, Vlad, and he recognizes him from the freaking robbery. And I called it because when I was watching the episode when the jewelry store was robbed at the White Lotus, the the gift shop, I think, that has this like expensive fancy jewelry, while Chelsea was there shopping. Right as this car sneaks through, Guy Talk was he was distracted by Valentine. I was like, that's interesting. I'm like, I bet you it's some of his friends. And sure enough, and when Lori hooks up with Alexi, she sees in his apartment when she's trying to hide from the girlfriend, when she comes after the post coitus, she sees the jewelry that was stolen. She's like, oh my God. So this show is crazy good, except for the incestuous stuff, which I'm like, that's too much. That's a little too much. So we do know from the first episode, someone's going to end up floating face down in the water because there's some kind of public shootout at the White Lotus, which we see in the first episode, the first scene, and we see Belinda's son, who's in a meditation session at the White Lotus, the wellness spa, and they hear the GUN shots. And he's like, please don't be my mom. Please don't be my mom. And he's like praying to Buddha, and he's cursing Buddha if something happens to his mom. And then we see a body, and we don't know whose body that is. But I'm sure there'll be more bodies because it's the White Lotus, and there's always multiple bodies. So overall, I guess I didn't have to give all of that, but I had to say it to somebody. It's cuckoo bananas. And I really almost stopped watching at the brother part. I'll be honest with you. But I am so curious to see what happens with Belinda. I'm so curious to see what happens with Greg Gary. I'm so curious to see what happens with the Ratliffs. And, you know, I know there's been theories out there that if you look at the like first episode, and there's been multiple references in episodes throughout the season of that poisonous fruit tree. There's a poisonous fruit on the grounds of the White Lotus. And so there's theories that they think that maybe Saxon is going to get poisoned accidentally or purposely by his dad, because Timothy Ratliff is going to realize, if he hasn't already, because I think in the end of last episode, he was looking for the GUN that Guy took back. The security guard stole back from him. And he's having these fantasies about taking out, you know, his family so they don't have to endure what they're about to endure when they go back to the States, which is the FBI and losing everything due to his money laundering ways. So I think Saxon could be a poisoning situation. But oh my gosh, you guys, it is okay. You guys liked it. I haven't talked about it, so I was like, this show, I mean, I should have known the White Lotus, you know, it delivers. But just the Ratliff family, just Parker Posey's character alone. I mean, Timothy Ratliff, the actor, does such a great job. It reminds you so much of Thomas Ravenel from Southern Charm. Only Timothy Ratliff is more likable. But in the beginning, couple episodes, I'm like, oh shit, this is Thomas Ravenel. Even the way he walks, the way he pulls up his pants, it's all time. It's like they studied Southern Charm. And then Victoria Ratliff, Parker Posey. I just can't say enough things about Parker Posey. I was trying to explain to Hype Man Husband Cello about Parker Posey, because I'm sure he's seen her and stuff. He's seen her in all like the, the Best in Shows or the Mighty Winds, the Timothy Guest movies, or is that his name? Timothy Guest? Christopher Guest, not Timothy. Christopher Guest movies. And then also she was in Blade Trinity. She was in, Party Girl, which was the cult classic in the 90s, and she was in Dazed and Confused. Like my husband, he's a little younger than me. He's 4 years younger than me, and he isn't as well versed on pop culture as I am, not as invested. And I'm like, oh my God, Parker Posey is like a 90s goddess. She's like the indie queen. She's just amazing. And she's still amazing all these years later, and playing this character like Papa No, Tsunami, Larissa Pam. It's just, every scene she's in, I'm just like, more Victoria. I think Mike White needs to just, if she doesn't die in this series, or even if she does, just maybe a prequel of the family, just on the Ratliffs. I would watch a fictionalized dramedy on the Ratliffs, because obviously it would be a prequel, so pre the incestuous stuff. But I adore watching her in this role. She's just amazing. And so I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen. So I'll probably do a full roast and recap of the finale. So if you're not caught up on the White Lotus, get caught up. and the finale airs on Max this Sunday. And then I'll probably do a roast and recap on Monday. So let me see what you guys are saying in the chat, because I've been blabbing about this, but I just had to get it off my chest because I was hyper focused. My ADHD just hyper focused on White Lotus for the past 24 hours. Katie says, I'm trying to avoid all the theories. Someone wrote that Chelsea would accidentally drink a poison smoothie, and I think something might happen to Chelsea, but I heard a theory that Saxon will drink a poisonous smoothie because he's all about his protein shakes. And there has to be something. As a writer, you wouldn't put that many references to the blender, to the noise of the blender, to the I wouldn't, or I don't think you would. I mean, obviously Mike White is like an acclaimed writer. So whatever he chooses to do, cool. But it seems like it's going to have a bigger role in the future. It's going to be someone's demise, this protein powder, this shake, because it's just so much, right? Parker Posey is sublime. They look similar too. Thomas Ravenel and Timothy. Yeah. Timothy is much more handsome. Thomas Ravenel's gross, but yeah. Mimi says, found it hilarious that Duke was actually offended by the use of the shirt. Were they really? Because Timothy Ratliff's character went to Duke. And then Victoria, the mom, she went to I forget what school. And so their younger son is trying to pick between the two, they say. So, oh my gosh. Oriel, you got blocked on Insta by Shep. Oh, we got to do, you guys, comment on this video after it posts, because we didn't hit our 25 comments on the last video for me to roast and recap Shep. So do it on this video. Let's see if we can get 25 comments. Not right now while we're live, but after the video post, go into comment and write roast Shep. And if we get 25, then I'll roast it. There's going to be a smoothie incident, I think. Yes, Graphic says everything we see has a meaning. That's the thing. That's one of those shows where you really have to pay attention, like Severance. You don't have to pay as close attention as Severance, because I feel like Severance is just, there's so many things, like you might not even catch like the littlest thing. I feel like White Lotus it's a little easier to pick up on the things or to predict, where in Severance, I rarely can predict anything. But yes, everything has meaning. My coworker did a deep dive. So the water means something. Yes, the monkeys have meaning. I just don't remember what she said. Well, we know that Timothy Ratliff is going to go in the direction of most like, he having these fantasies about taking out his family. And he felt more comfortable doing that after he spoke to the monk, after he spoke to the Buddhist leader at the monastery where his daughter wanted to go for a year, that she was touring, and do that like meditation school they have, because he gives a very beautiful analogy, a description of what happens when we die. And he's like, when you're born, it's like you burst into, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it's like you burst up like a ripple of water, and you're on your own. And then in the end but you're from the ocean. In the end, you just go back into the ocean and everything is calm and calm, but you're together again at one, and you're at peace. And you could tell Timothy was like, I like that. Okay. And after that, he seemed so much more on board of taking his family out, because he sees it as like a peaceful way for them to never have to go through what they're about to go through with him being, indicted and all that. So it's just cool. Yeah. Mike White I had no idea. I watched him on Survivor. I didn't even know who the guy was. His season of Survivor, I think, was David versus Goliath. And it was one of the first seasons I covered of Survivor, when I used to cover Survivor back in the day. And it said, he's a Hollywood writer and stuff. And I thought, okay, I don't know who he was. And then he comes out with White Lotus years later. And I'm like, shit. And he had written this movie, this super silly, Hype My Husband Chell had me watch it, super satirical, just like out there movie, which I'm all for. And I forgot the name of it now. I'm going to have to ask Hype My Husband Chell. And it had Jennifer Coolidge in it. And he seems to be one of those people who, similar to like Ryan Murphy, he likes to work with a lot of the same actors. So he then, put Jennifer Coolidge in 2 of the 3 seasons of White Lotus. And yeah, I can't say enough good things, minus the incestuous plot, about the White Lotus and Mike White's writing. Okay, the movie was called Gentlemen Broncos, and it's a 2009 comedy sci-fi movie, and Mike's in it himself, and Jennifer Coolidge is in it. Is it called? Yeah, it's called Gentlemen Broncos. If you guys want to watch it, I think you could watch it for free on YouTube, or no, Amazon Prime. I think you may have to pay. But if you're interested, if you like Jennifer Coolidge and you like silly good times, comedy, sci-fi mix, and it also has Jermaine from Flight of the Conchords. It's actually pretty funny. It's so ridiculous it's funny. It's called Gentlemen Broncos. So let me write that down for you. Gentlemen Broncos. It's from 2009. And this is obviously pre-White Lotus, but shows that Mike White has been loving on Jennifer Coolidge for a long time. It has Sam Rockwell in it too. I forgot until right now. Oh shit. And Mike White's. It's so silly. It's like Napoleon Dynamite-ish, but better. It's very, very funny, you guys. Here's the movie. Hey, Christina. Christina Coca is in the chat. Hello, hello, hello. I was trying to get Joleen to pull up my latest video. It's a T-Rav and top. Is it on your Instagram? I'll pull it up right now, Christina. I love your compilation videos. I love your creative mind. All right. Let me find it here, Christina. If you're not already following Christina, go follow Christina Coca. Subscribe to her on Instagram and also, or follow her on Instagram, subscribe to her on the YouTubes. Okay, there's Christina. Oh, shit. Okay. Oh, shit, Christina, doing the Lord's work, doing the pop culture Lord's work here. Ratcliffe Ravenel. Okay, let me share this. You guys go follow Christina if you're not already on Instagram. You won't be sorry if you don't already follow her. Like, you'll love it. She makes amazing things. She's so talented. All right, let me get the... So Christina says, Mike told us to go watch Southern Charm. In fact, Jason Isaacs, who played our dad, kind of modeled his whole accent and character off of it. Sam Nivola says, Mike did send me Thomas to look at before we started the show. His demeanor is interesting because he comes from generational wealth. In the end, it was amalgamation. Thank you, of the musicality of his voice and his tone of entitlement, and some Durham politicians who have the authority and power I was looking for in Tim. Jason Isaacs confirming that Timothy Ratliff is indeed inspired by Southern Charm's Thomas Ravenel. Oh my goodness. And thank you so much. I see that Wanda gifted 5 memberships. That's so extremely kind and generous. Thank you, Wanda Lee. You are such a sweetie. Wipe the dang seedy. I appreciate you. Congratulations to those of you who got memberships. Please thank Wanda in the chat. Okay. Give me a thumbs up as soon as you guys can hear this.
Oh, damn, coffee. His coffee's on the way. Excuse me, we ordered coffee? Yeah, I'm ready for coffee. Very particular about my coffee. And I'm going to fucking prison? They've already put me in prison. Kenny, will you shut the fuck up? Just shut the up. This was a favor to you. Remember that? I didn't want to do it. I lost 150 grand going in your way. I will kill you. I will fucking kill you. You will crawl off bleeding. I'll bitch slap you in front of these people. Piece of shit. That son of a bitch. It's a rare thing that we're together like this. You know, we're only on this earth for a short period of time. So let's make the most of it. Let's make this week special. So why not have fun with it? I am a pillar of the community. And my family has a legacy of success. My grandfather was the governor of North Carolina. My father was in Congress for 4 terms. Father was a very, very, very successful businessman. I spend a lot of money, but, you know, I make a lot of money. I mean, I don't know a richer Ravenel in South Carolina than myself. I love you so much. You get some better advice, you fucking dumbass. This is my money. This is my campaign. I'm going to run it the way I want it. Fucking ass. Jesus Christ. You know I don't like taking drugs. I don't need to do any drugs. The expectations on me. I don't know another Ravenel that's won a statewide race. Somebody said I ruined the Ravenel name. I haven't known a single day without all this shit put on me. Yes, I got thrown in jail because I shared some cocaine, but you know what? They came after me precisely because of my success and my name. Where is this goddamn coffee? His coffee's on the way. Excuse me, we ordered coffee.
That is so good. Well done, Christina. And oh my God, the coffee, the way he holds the phone. I mean, you can tell that he watched the show and that he modeled his character off of Thomas Ravenel, and love to see that he has confirmed that, because that's all I saw in the first couple episodes. I was like, oh my God, this is too close. This is so good. Os Flygirl says, true story. I work in Charleston. I was at the business center printing and preparing. A police officer on duty was on the computer next to me doing training online. We talked about Thomas. Spill the tea, Os Flygirl. Oh, he revealed some serious Thomas Rhobh juice. The depth of the coca sharing. Oh my. Oh my. DM me what he told you, Os Flygirl. We'll keep it a secret between you, I, and the lean team here. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Christina. That was amazing. Go share Christina's video. That, again, even the way he wore his like khaki pants and pulled them up, I was like, that's Thomas Ravenel. That is him. Only he's much more attractive than Thomas Ravenel. So there you have it, you guys. Thank you for letting me get my hyper focus and fixation on White Lotus out today. I wish I would have covered it the whole season, but alas, that is the beauty of ADHD and me, that I'm like, oh, you guys, BTW, there's been 7 episodes and I want to talk about them all right now and tell you all my feelings. And thank you guys for sounding off in the chat about it. Shout out to all my super chatters. Thank you, Wanda Lee, for gifting memberships. That was so kind of you. Thank you, Dog Mom Laura. Thank you, Prin. Thank you, Kelly Sandyford. I appreciate you guys so very much. You're all beautiful pumpkin spice babies. Don't forget to comment after the video posts that you want me to roast Shep, and I will. Okay. And if we get 25 comments that say roast Shep, I'll do it. But otherwise, I'll be like, I don't think people want to see it. And I don't want to bore you guys if you don't want to. And yes, Karen Reed. Right now they're in the jury selection. I'm going to be covering that. I think this weekend I'm going to watch a couple of the testimonies from last trial. So we're going to cover the retrial, but we'll talk about the previous cross-examinations by Alan Jackson and David Yannetti, and especially Michael Proctor and a couple of people. I want to go over some of them with you and we can like react together and remember, because now in this trial, obviously, they're going to have a lot of the same witnesses, and the jury's now going to have Michael Proctor being the main lead investigator who did a horseshit job and is cuckoo bananas and a shitty person and a misogynist and gross. And I don't like him at all. They're going to know that he has since been fired for his. So how will that play a role to the jury, knowing that the lead investigator was fired for the way he handled that case and the things he said about Karen Reed and just his overall disgustingness. So that's going to be very interesting, but they're still in the jury selection. I think they're finishing up today. They should be finished, because last I checked, they had like almost what they needed for jurors, which incredibly difficult given how high profile this case is. And there's no way you're going to find anyone who hasn't heard of this case. It's just now up to them to pick the people they think will, ultimately they're just looking for jurors, both sides, who they think are going to side with them. But watching just now, I'm subscribed to like the Boston news station. So I'll wake up in the morning and they're already live doing the jury selection. And as the judge is, telling them, do you know this person? Do you have reasons? And it's like juror number 506, 507, 512, 516, like so all the questions they ask, whether they have, contact or know certain people involved in the trial or certain witnesses, it's just a huge number of people. Or when they ask, how many of you have already formed an opinion about this case, it's like most of the jury applicants have. So they're just, if they haven't already, I haven't watched today's yet, but they're just getting their main jurors and then their alternates as well. And they said it's going to run 6 to 8 weeks. The judge says last time the trial didn't go over, so she doesn't think the retrial is going to. She hopes it's not. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. This is a very, very interesting case, and so I mean, such a staple in pop culture right now. Katie, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. Os Fly Girl, thank you so much. You're amazing. I appreciate the super chat. And Yellow Jackets. I was all caught up, but then I got rid of, what is it on? I got rid of Paramount, and that's how I watched it. So now I have to wait until the summer to get caught up on Yellow Jackets when I get Paramount Plus back. Because I had to start getting rid of, you guys, I got rid of streaming services only to get more streaming services. So many of you, yes, I got my P.O. box too. Graphics, I just haven't opened the box. I got it. So I'm going to open it and then I'll talk about it next time I'm live. Graphics sent me a wonderful P.O. box, a wonderful gift from their business, and I can't wait to check it out. But so many of you were like, Joleen, when I did my last video roasting and recapping Tim Sandy Butt, on what podcast was he on again? Oh, Nick Viall. Ugh, Nick Viall. Tomato, performative. I put out a little video today, an edited video of how Nick Viall is a fake. But I didn't have YouTube Premium because I got rid of that a while back. So I'm like, I'm not giving YouTube any more of my money. But I did feel shame, so I signed back up for it. So Chelsea's gonna be like, what? I've signed up for so many more. I've gotten rid of some, but then I was like, well, now I need this, and now I need that, and now I need YouTube Premium. So I was like, fine, take $18.99 a month because I don't want you guys to have to sit through ads while I'm roasting and recapping. So you'll be happy to know that I upgraded to Premium because it's just like, so sorry, you guys. I look so unprofessional with all the ads playing, but I'm literally just trying to save money until my husband graduates, and he's graduating at the end of the month, and he'll be an RN. Life will be so much easier than it is now. If you know, going back to school as an adult is very hard. And then and who cares? You guys don't need to know all that. But so I felt so you guys were so nice about it. But also someone left a comment like, God, I wish YouTube or Patreon or something could gift Joleen a YouTube membership, being a content creator. I'm like, guys, yeah, right. They make us pay for everything. They take 30% of our money, and then they also make us pay for everything. But I was like, I'm not going to do that to my lean team anymore. Not going to do that. So yeah, if you missed it, yesterday's video, the video before this one, you'll see a clip of me roasting Nick Viall. And then there's like a 3-hour video almost of me roasting Tim Sandy Butt and Nick Viall. So, so if you missed it, go check that out, you guys. Give it some love. But again, comment when the video posts on this video and let me know if you want me to roast the Shep interview on Not Skinny But Not Fat on that podcast. And I have, roasted other episodes on that, other interviews, I should say, on that podcast before. So let me know if we get 25. I will do it. I'll be back tomorrow, you guys. Thank you. You're all beautiful, wonderful pumpkin spice babies. Hit that subscribe. Share me with your friends. Follow me on social media, Instagram and TikTok at Joleen Lunzer. And enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. Bye.